Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Azabi here, back again with Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex Season 2. We are on episode 3, and in the last episode, it was an odd one. We were following a guy called Gino, and basically seeing everything through his eyes for that one episode. Now, he was ex-military, which we'll get into where this story comes from, or where it gets its influence from, which is Taxi Driver, by the way, which thank you for the people who did actually... They tell me that in the comments. I appreciate that. It was a movie that I have seen before, but we're talking like years ago, to the point where I couldn't even remember a lot of it. You know what I mean? But since reacting to episode 2, I did actually go back and watch Taxi Driver, and yeah, you can see the comparisons like totally. So Gino is delusional, everything like that. Like everything from the sort of love of an escort, to trying to save her. Basically the inner monologue of like what thoughts is going through his mind throughout his sort of routine. Like that sort of very, very retro, almost like vintage sort of style. You can see that obviously comes from Taxi Driver and was put into that episode. So I think it was just really, really nicely well done. Visualizing killing somebody in a sort of higher power. So in Taxi Driver, it's like, going out to essentially wanting to kill a politician. He never actually does, but, it's almost like shot for shot, you can see all the influence from Taxi Driver in that episode. The one that comes to mind is when he's like training and everything and doing pull-ups and gun practice and everything like that. Like that stuff is practically shot for shot. So yeah, that's cool. It's cool that they, brought that in, but, used it in in the Ghost in the Shell universe in a way, and using it for like, their own, story and how it makes sense in their world. But it was interesting to get that perspective from somebody who's just on the ground. Like, I think when we think about, Section 9 and everything, there's always these like sort of high priority missions that are going on, and even their headquarters was like at the very top of this massive fucking, this big fucking, skyscraper essentially, and everything like that. So it's almost like they are above everything that's going on, and you don't really see a lot of what's happening on the ground. And by that I mean figuratively, because obviously we do get on the ground literally, but in terms of figuratively speaking, like getting a perspective from somebody who's not a part of all of this and just an everyday guy is an interesting perspective. And so really, really interesting episode. It was just very much a standalone episode, as it would be. It's not really given us any sort of, I guess, indication on moving forward, but it just gives us what the people on the ground, their everyday thoughts and feelings and everything, what they think. So yeah, I don't think I'd need to go into anything more than that. So I think we're just going to get in episode 3 and see what we get. So if you want to go watch the reaction, link is in the description below. There's also the link to the full length if you want to watch it in full and not just the 10-minute cut version. Then the offer is there for you. But yes, nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get in episode 3, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 3 of season 2, Cash Eye. So from everything that I took from that, it almost feels like, well, everything that they had to do all just to get Todokoro to open up the vault is insane, because I feel like the Cash Eye hacker or whatever, it was completely made up, and everything like that. So I wonder when that started. You know what I mean? Because I would have liked to have known like when like all of this was sort of, I guess, created, and who it was that was actually at the sort of at the helm of that. Hacker. I mean, Motoko is like generally the best hacker, as what we've seen. So I'm guessing that she was the one that that did it, as well as infiltrated under the guise of an android that was being remote controlled. Which makes me wonder like how Todokoro never noticed the similarities between Motoko and this this android, or this remote control android that was breaking in and stuff. you know, because there wasn't much difference other than the fact that she had this like face mask thing that didn't even cover out all of her face. But yeah, so it was just a whole elaborate plan all to get Todokoro, and it's continuing on really from the last season as something that, because of the change in Prime Minister and everything like that, like the whole, you know, idea behind the reform and everything like that is still going on from people that were connected to Yakushima, and Todokoro was one of those guys, and of course he was basically tax evading and money laundering. So yeah, it's nice to see that like that's still something that is still going on from the previous season. You know, I remember talking about in, you know, the last season about how the standalone episodes tend to be very much until like the later episodes of the first season, when like it all started coming, you know, back around and we started getting things from the standalone episodes. But you know, they kind of kept themselves to themselves in their own sort of individual story. But this is something that is like the standalone episode based around still putting, you know, reforming the whole sort of system and getting people you know, done for their corrupt sort of nature and everything like that. So yeah, they had a party, a cultured party, you know, not for the uncultured, where it was basically for people like, you know, these higher up members of society to show off their sex dolls. Fucking hell, man, dude. Amazing. So yeah, a bunch of fucking pervy bastards. The Chief Minister of Foreign Affairs was in there, which is the guy, like one of the guys, I guess, of note. I guess he was really the only one, because it clearly like just, you know, pointed him out. I'm sure we have seen him before. You know, he's gotten some screen time, I believe, before in the show. You know, but it just goes to show like all these people that when they are brought up in this show to like obviously, you know, do their jobs and everything, they're so like serious, but like, you know, when they think that they're being discreet and going off and, you know, to a sex doll party, Jesus, it's just, yeah, amazing. It's depressing, as what do you call them would say. So yeah, I mean, other than that, pretty self-explanatory episode. I don't really know if there's anything else to really go into. I love the Tachikomas being very sort of, I guess, seeing their sort of hacking prowess as opposed to what they usually were used for, especially in season 1, where it was a bit more sort of hands-on for the Tachikomas, you know what I mean? But yeah, just having them just sort of like loiter around and hang out, you know, to create like, you know, virtual images in the security cameras and stuff like that, which yeah, that was a neat little twist at the end there, where it was like, you know, Motoko was inside that vacuum sealed sort of you know, room, is what we saw anyway on the security cams, but it was just something that of course the Tachikomas were doing themselves, and because we were, you know, privy to that information that that's what they were doing before, I feel a bit hard done by that I didn't pick up on it myself, you know what I mean? Because I felt like it was weird that Aramaki wasn't sending a message through to her, you know what I mean? Like basically saying like, oh, you know, don't go in there, because, you know, you can basically send it through his mind. Todokoro wasn't going to hear it, you know what I mean? So I just thought it was very, very odd. But yeah, so I mean, other than that, I don't know what this stick into walls fucking technology is. I've never seen her use that before, you know what I mean? If she could have done that, why did she even get on the floor? I mean, I know that she obviously has, you know, she has faith in her own abilities to be able to maneuver, I guess, quicker. But I don't know. I've never seen her stick to walls before, so that was a odd one that caught me sort of off guard. Yeah. So what else? Yeah, she can turn her sensitivity down, which I think is really funny. You know what I mean? It's like when she has to, you know, deal with that. She doesn't want to, you know, feel this fucking disgusting dude's touch, so she just turns it all the way down so she can't feel it. So good. What else? Yeah, also I guess is a little sort of character thing that I'm picking up on with Motoko, is that she wants a vacation, especially like there at the end where, well, I guess even at the beginning when she was talking about how, you know, like it was cutting into a vacation time or something like that, you know what I mean? Like she's doing all this and it's eating up like my vacation, which ends up just being in, you know, I guess Section 9 headquarters, just with the windows given off the idea that they're you know, in some fucking like, you know, hot island retreat. So yeah, but it feels like she's getting weary, which is interesting because I never got that from her in the first season. So I don't know if it's a case of like she's just getting a bit worn out from it all. Like it's non-stop for her almost, and she like barely has time to chill out. You know, so I wonder if that's going to be something that, like, you know, carries on as the episodes sort of progress, where like she gets a bit more and more like, you know, done with the whole thing for a bit, and like she just needs a bit of time off. But you know, we'll see what happens with that going forward. But anyway, yeah, that is all I got for episode 3. So episode 4 will be out the same time as this. But if you want to get access to episode 5 and 6 right now, you can do by becoming an early access tier patron and going over to my Patreon there. It's $5 a month. It gives you access to shows a week early. There's also the full length tier if you do want to watch any of my reactions in full and not just the cut 10-minute version. And there's also the exclusive tier, which gives you access to movie reactions and things like that. So yeah, you can go over there, see what they offer. But that was all I've got, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.